So now that you have an idea of my financial situation, you might be thinking, well, you're $300,000 in debt. How are you going to pay that off? And my response to that is not how I'm going to pay that off. Actually, I want to accrue as much debt as possible. I want to accrue even more debt, up to $1 million by 30. And you might be thinking, this guy is stupid. Why would he want more debt? But here's the thing. Debt is not always a bad thing. When we talk about debt, we generally think about bad debt, like student loans, or healthcare costs, or really expensive car loans, or credit card debt that you should not have racked up. With these loans, there's extremely high interest, and what you're paying against is absolutely nothing. For credit card debt, it might have been an expensive trip you took. For medical care, yes, it's absolutely necessary for your health to keep living, but unfortunately, there's not an asset remaining on that debt to be paid against. But for real estate, all of that debt is collateralized through the property you purchase. So if you are able to gain this debt to purchase real estate, you can then use that debt as an income source. And therein lies my 3-year plan. Currently, I have about $300,000 worth of real estate investments. So this is in a combination of assets and liabilities. And I'm going to continue growing that real estate portfolio in the next 2 to 3 years and hopefully achieve that $1 million marker by age 30. If I don't achieve it by 30, well, that's alright. If I do achieve it by 30 and I achieve it before 30 and go beyond it, that's also great. Now, you might be thinking, well, what exactly are you making from taking $1 million in debt in loans? So I can go over right now how much I can make out of $170,000 in loans, which is my first rental property. My first rental property cost me $170,000, and it is generating $2,400 a month in income. Now you might say, well, that might not mean much if your mortgage is really, really expensive. And yes, that's absolutely the case. So for this specific property, I'm paying about $1,500 in mortgage. Now you might be thinking that's really expensive, but this also includes all of the costs associated with insurance, with the PMI, and also with property tax payments. So as a result of this, I receive a profit of about $900 per month on a $170,000 loan. So if we annualize this, pulling out my handy calculator, if we annualize this, I'm making 900 times 12, which is $10,800 on this property over a $170,000 loan, and that gives me an annual return of 6.3%. Now, if this holds, meaning that with $1 million in total loans taken out, I can generate about a 5 to 6% return. And if I can generate a 5 to 6% return modestly, I can earn $50,000 to $60,000 in profit based on my rental properties. Now this will generate me a modest salary to have more freedom and time freedom to work on my own businesses and projects. Now you might be thinking, well, you could just make that much by taking out a loan and investing it in the stock market. That's absolutely the case. But try going to a bank and asking for a loan for you to purchase $170,000 worth of stocks. The reason they don't do this is because they don't know your skill level, they don't know what you're going to invest in, and every stock purchase has risks. The market could go down one year, and how are you going to pay for that loan? How are you going to make the loan payments? For real estate, as long as you have a cash flowing property, you are not at risk of defaulting with the bank. That is the key thing that makes real estate so good for building your wealth. You can leverage an extremely large amount of money at very low risk because your property is always the collateral for the bank. Your purchase itself is the collateral. Although I plan on growing my real estate portfolio, it is not the only avenue of investment I plan on making for myself. I plan on trying to keep a full-time job as much as possible and also build my own businesses through my own profits and investments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to funnel the money I make, additional money I make, into businesses that I own. Currently, I consider real estate one of my businesses. And additionally, I have another business. Currently, I'm actually having a very difficult time growing this business because I live in a somewhat smaller town, but as that business grows, I will definitely give developments. Right now, that business is only generating a few $100s of revenue per month, but I'm hoping to grow that as much as possible. I will continue to update any new changes on that end. But for now, I'm mainly focused on improving my real estate assets by continuing to seek out mortgages on primary residences. This is absolutely key for your first purchase. Your primary residence, your initial purchase, you can put down as little as 3%. That is how much money you can leverage. Now, you have to absolutely understand your cash flow to be safe in these purchases. And I will go into a further detailed breakdown on how to analyze a rental property's cash flow and why it's the right or wrong decision to purchase. If you like this type of content and you enjoy the financial side of YouTube, you should like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because it'll bring additional content that interests you to your feed. Use the algorithm to help yourself. Stay smart, stay savvy, and I'm out.